first episode really promises that there's going to be a great balance of gore, because this is, after all, DC, and DC clearly wants to kind of separate itself from Marvel's quite family-friendly stuff. Superman was obviously quite family-friendly, but I think when it comes to Peacemaker and what it teases for the rest of it, because James Gunn has said that if you want to keep up to date with DCU, you need to watch this. He's been really excited about this. He said that Peacemaker Season 2 is very much his favourite thing that he's done in a long while, which I don't know what that says about Superman. That's, yeah. Peacemaker Season 2 is now finally out. John Cena returns as Peacemaker, aka Christopher Smith, our favourite anti-hero. And this is going to be a spoiler-free review of episode 1. But take my word when I say, holy shit. Right, let's get into it. So, before we get into Peacemaker itself, let's talk about this. The Suicide Squad. So this was James Gunn's kind of first foray into DC. And it's a great film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm going to spoil a tiny bit of it, but this season is going to spoil it anyway for you, so you might as well go watch it, and then you'll be up to date. So this season, if you watch the trailer, you know that this is very much Chris trying to find his place. He's not quite happy with his life, and a lot of it has to do with this. Because in the Suicide Squad, he kills Rick Flag Jr. And Rick Flag Jr.'s last words before he keels over were, "Peacemaker, what a joke." And that's really where we find Peacemaker this season. He feels like he's a joke. No one cares about him. No one takes him seriously. So he wants to change that. So James Gunn has written all the episodes in this one. He directs the first one, which gets things off to a really great start. The episode just gets straight into it with Eagly, his eagle friend, also the MVP of the season, literally takes him into this interdimensional kind of thing with loads of doors, and you can access different dimensions and universes through that, which I assume is going to be really important later on in like the DCU. I think that's what it's called now. And Eagly just takes him to a new door. Peacemaker goes through, and it's a pretty good universe. Runs out because he sees Dad. His dad died last season. So imagine going through a door and you're like, where am I? And then you just see your dead father looking very alive. You would absolutely shit yourself, wouldn't you? I would. I don't know about you, but I would. Then we get to the opening credits. If you have watched season 1, which I hope you have, like, what are you doing on this video if you haven't watched season 1? You know that the opening credits are iconic. You know, you've got the entire cast just doing this mental dance. Like, yes. Season 2 does it as well. You kind of lose the shock factor of it, you know. We've seen this. The new dance kind of does the same moves, a lot of it. The new opening credits use Foxy Shazam's Oh Lord. It's a very different song. And it's a bigger cast this season as well. So there's a lot more people faffing around. Eagly as well gets his own little bit. It's a little dance move. But it's a bit different. I think it reflects this season's themes a little bit more, being a bit slower, a bit more serious, I suppose. It kind of teases the upcoming relationship between Peacemaker and Harcourt, played by Jennifer Holland. But episode 1 doesn't really go into that yet. But later on in the season, I think that's going to be a massive, massive theme. But still, those opening credits, I just can't get over how fun that is. The fact that they got Frank Grillo, who plays Rick Flag Sr. in this season. They got him to do all of that. He's not bad either. He's pretty good, I must say. as is John Cena. Like, who knew? Clearly his WWE career has probably helped, because I think that's quite like kind of choreographed. Not fully choreographed, but you have like an idea of what's going to happen. And yeah, that is brilliant. Overall, I think what makes Peacemaker such a good show, and definitely season 2, is that John Cena's really good at playing a really dumb character, but also kind of being able to tap into that more serious side and that more sad elements of the character. And I think that's a huge, huge, like, strength for this whole series. And I couldn't be happier with that. This whole season, the first episode really promises that there's going to be a great balance of gore, because this is, after all, DC, and DC clearly wants to kind of separate itself from Marvel's quite family-friendly stuff. Superman was obviously quite family-friendly, but I think when it comes to Peacemaker and what it teases for the rest of it, because James Gunn has said that if you want to keep up to date with DCU, you need to watch this. He's been really excited about this. He said that Peacemaker season 2 is very much his favorite thing that he's done in a long while, which I don't know what that says about Superman. That's, yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of Superman. I thought it was a good film. I just don't think it was great. I think it was a bit messy, a bit too much going on. Whereas, huge fan of Peacemaker season 2, so far at least. Especially because those themes of loneliness and regret, there's a scene where Peacemaker auditions to be part of the Justice Gang. If you watch Superman, you'll know what the Justice Gang is. And that whole scene is just a really good example of how Peacemaker knows how others see him. He is the joke. And then we get back to that, like, Rick Flag Jr. telling him, what joke. The way he says it, the way Joel Kinnaman says it as well, it's like all this anger and this kind of hatred is just like seeping through it. And the reason he killed Rick Flag Jr. is because he was ordered to do so. So very much Peacemaker has always had to play by other people's rules. And he's had very little independence. And I'm really excited to see where this season goes. If you watch the trailer, you know that that's going to be the main conflict, is he wants to make something of himself, and that new universe that he's discovered, he could be so much more there. And I think that's such an interesting conflict to have, that rather than saving the world, because in season 1 there was the butterflies, these alien things taking over human bodies. The scale this season, based on episode 1, is so much smaller. And I think that's really fascinating. When you get to these superhero shows, this is barely a superhero thing. He's not saving the world. And I don't know if that's going to be a thing at all this season. Maybe it's literally just about Chris finding himself, making something of himself, and making Peacemaker into something more important, something that people can admire, and people can look at him and be like, wow, it's Peacemaker. He wants to be kind of the Superman of his own life, I think. So that's interesting. I do wonder if people are going to be slightly put off by how much less comedy there's going to... I don't know. Maybe it's going to be very comedic, but I think the balance of what episode 1 teases of all these different elements, I wonder what's going to be the priority. Is this still going to be a comedy show? Is it going to be an action show? Is it going to be a superhero show? Or is it going to be this kind of character development-led show where we really get to know Peacemaker? And then how does that affect the DCU in general? Is it just because there's these different universes? Is that what James Gunn means when he says you have to watch season 2 of Peacemaker to kind of know what's going on in the DCU? Or will something actually happen that shakes the whole universe to its core? I don't know. Maybe I'm a little disappointed that they're going the multiverse kind of route. Because I feel like that's really been a problem for Marvel. And maybe it's not fair to compare DC and Marvel constantly, but that's the kind of the natural point here. The multiverse stuff has really brought Marvel down, I think, and they've got a bit too messed up with it. It's getting messy. People clearly are losing interest because Fantastic Four isn't doing that well at the box office. It's a great film, I thought, but clearly people don't really care. It did a lot of money first weekend because clearly everyone went to see it who wants to see it. And after that, word of mouth isn't what there is great, but this is not a lot of it. Do you know what I mean? So I want to see what James Gunn does with DCU and how this season of Peacemaker really feeds into it. I have no idea how, but I'm really, really excited to find out. Next year, obviously, for DC, you've got the Supergirl movie, you've got Clayface, I think, as well already next year, which I'm really excited about. I'm really excited to see how much there's going to be playing around with different genres, because Clayface is very much going to be a horror one. It's written by Mike Flanagan, directed by James Watkins. And I'm hoping that there's more risk taking. Warner Brothers has just released Weapons, which we've got a review and a spoiler chat on as well on our YouTube channel, so go check those ones out. And I'm hoping that that kind of risk taking will also apply to DCU. I'm hoping. I don't know. I have no idea. But a woman can dream, right? So yeah, episode 1 of Peacemaker season 2 is a really fascinating start to this season. I'm hoping that it's going to keep that up and it's not just going to be your regular superhero show. I want there to be something to really for us to latch on and not feel like we're watching something because we have to watch it. And you have to make notes because you need to remember all of this, you know, a year or two from now when you're watching another DCU film. So I'm hoping that there's something more to this. And I have a really, really good feeling about it. The episode ends, again, this is going to be spoiler free, but I am going to say that the episode ends on an interesting note. Let's put it that way. And I can't wait to watch more and see where all this goes. But yeah, Peacemaker season 2 in the UK on Sky Max on Fridays. In the US, it's on HBO Max, obviously. And I'd love to know what you think of the episode 1. Please be spoiler free in your comments if you can, just so that others can also enjoy it. We do have spoilery reviews at filmstories.co.uk. So if you're looking for a more spoilery conversation, go and read that review and then comment on that, because we really, really want to know what you think and what you're expecting. So go over there or leave some comments here what your first kind of response to this season is. But also make sure that you subscribe to this channel. We're doing loads of video content. We've got loads of interviews coming up, loads more spoiler chats, reviews, everything you could dream of. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!